Alright, here we go. So here's the loaf of bread I created. Yeah. Decently tall, but if you look underneath, it collapsed as it came out of the oven. Because, well, part of it's that I forgot to actually score it, so it just kind of exploded. Has a decent crumb. The flavor ended up really bad because I added too much yeast and probably overproofed. But if I come over here to the actual pot, though, it is this gigantic cast iron thing. It's actually pretty thin. It must be a pretty old pot because it's a thinner piece of cast iron than a lot of modern stuff. It's rough interior, pretty big. Here's my arm for scale. Well, I can't really, I'll dip my arm into it. Yeah, there we go. That'll hopefully get the angle correct. Yeah. Pretty neat. The bread loaf probably went up about 3/4 when I had it, when I put it in the oven, and then it collapsed quite a bit. But the interesting thing about it, oh, and here's the lid. And when I put the lid on the pot, it makes a pretty big little pot, and I usually throw it in the oven, maybe 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25, 30 minutes. Actually, maybe even 35 minutes, and then I take the lid off and finish the bake with a little bit of water in the oven to get a crust. Interestingly, because of the shape of the pot, you get like a spool, and the top's usually either flat or collapsed inward. I have not gotten oven spring to pop the top outward. Not quite sure why, but yeah, it's a pretty fun pot to make bread in. I'm curious if I could use parchment paper like with a Dutch oven. It's not quite a Dutch oven. I don't really even know what to call that pot, but it certainly makes a good crumb and crust on the outside of a loaf of bread. So curious to see what other people think of it.